Welcome back to another review, this time for the anime. My status as an assassin obviously exceeds The Heroes, which had 12 episodes and was airing in autumn of 2025. Synopsis from any list. Akira Oda and his high school classmates are summoned to another world. While the other students are granted cheat abilities through the summoning, Akira merely gains the abilities of a mediocre assassin. However, his status soon surpasses Hero, the strongest profession. After Akira becomes suspicious of the king behind the summoning, he is falsely framed for a crime and forced to flee. So, this is an isekai where we follow Akira the assassin, who is the edgy boy in the poster. The start of the show was pretty good. We had a nice fight scene, very well directed, very well animated, a really good start point. Then we get introduced to the isekai. It's an isekai. We have Akira and his classmates get summoned. There's a king, they test everyone for their profession, they say, hey, you need to defeat the demon king and we are going to train you. Typical isekai stuff. Now, Akira, he finds out, hey, he is the assassin and he has concealed presence as one of his abilities. So instead of being tested by this kingdom, he decides to be somewhat invisible and be in the background. He's very passive, he's very cautious, he's trying to not stand out in any way, which I do like. He is like, hey, I don't trust anyone here, I don't have information, you can tell me what you want, and I can't really verify, so the first thing I should do is try to get information. And that is what he does. Every night he, goes outside, or not outside, but goes out of his chamber and goes around the castle, tries to find information, which he does. He also finds some secrets, because he doesn't trust stuff here. And I like that as an idea, having a character that is more passive, that is more cautious, that is not the typical happy-go-lucky, everyone is good and I am good and the world is a good place character. He's like, you know what, let's take a step back. And especially with the assassin profession, maybe he's someone who can then be someone who is going to kill people if need be, which is very rare in these shows. But, I see potential. Now, we don't really have much going on with it. I am going into some spoilers because I can't really talk about the show otherwise. So, we have this whole situation, as is stated in the synopsis. Framed for a crime, he has to flee. He goes into a dungeon. Now, in that dungeon, we come across a slime, and inside that slime is a silver-haired elven girl, which is the girl in the back here. And Akira rescues her, and she then accompanies him on his journey. It's an isekai. She's a beautiful girl. He is the edgy boy. You know where it's going. Easy, sure, whatever. Now, a couple problems. So, why is the slime here? Why is she still alive? Which seemingly she was there for quite some time. From what we get to know somewhat later how this happened. But why the slime is here, why she's still alive, we don't know at all. Both of these make no sense, especially why the slime is here. And, after rescuing her, it seems like she instantly falls in love with him, which is why. Already these problems, sure, but we go down this dungeon, we defeat the end boss, which is a huge monster, a very strong monster, and then with Talk no Jutsu, we convince the monster to become another companion. So, after 3 episodes, we have Akira, who is an assassin, who is stronger than the hero, who has a really strong, supposedly strong shadow ability, who has a companion who is very good at magic, and a beautiful elven gray-haired lady, and a monster companion who's also super strong. And that is the beginning of the show, more or less. Which is like, why do we need to speedrun strength gain? Why is this always a problem in isekai? That instead of having a slow progression, we try to, get stronger, we get to something like a wall, we then have to train to overcome that wall, like a shonen. Why in isekai is like, we front load everything, and then we don't really have any progression later on, because we already did that in the first couple episodes. It's very weird. It feels like an isekai problem. But yeah, we have a group of OP characters that seemingly no one can touch. Now we then get introduced to the Elven Kingdom. That whole storyline is really bad. I would even say garbage. That storyline is really barely done in the show. First off, we get teleported there, and for some reason the elves were all in position to ambush us, which is already stupid. Then the reason why the elves are against us is, because of the elven girl we find out is a princess, and her sister wants to get rid of her, so she banished her, and now that she came back, she wants to kill her, I guess. So we have this evil, quote-unquote evil sister who is charming everyone, and just because she is jealous of her sister, and all that because the king is stupid and did not really... There's a lot of bullshit going on here. The worst part, we could have removed this whole storyline, nothing would change. The only thing we find out is that our elven princess can resurrect people. That is all. Because the other characters that get introduced, they are gone in the next arc and never to be seen again. Nonetheless, we continue after resolving this bullshit storyline. Again, we now have assassin, stronger than the hero, super shadow abilities, a maid that can resurrect people and is an elven princess, and a monster cat that is super strong. Awesome. We then go and get introduced to Graham. Now, the story is mostly about Graham. Graham is the evil mastermind. The evil. Essentially, he's the Epstein of this show. More or less. He is kidnapping people, he's trafficking people, he is selling people, he is drugging people, he has a whole drug trade and production line. He's the worst of the worst. He is like a full-time criminal where every second in his day is about doing criminal stuff. And, people go to Akira and are like, yo, how about you get rid of him? You're an assassin. He seems like a good target to, assassin to. Now, Akira, he has his moral problems with assassinating people. Now, in the whole, I don't really have a problem that he has like moral issues with the assassination itself, because he is not really used to killing people, and he doesn't know, would he be allowed to go back to his family? Would he be, essentially, would he be clean to, live as a human being if he were to kill someone? Even though he was okay with killing monsters for some reason. But I guess there's some difference for him. Again, overall, don't really have a problem with that idea. However, it's not like Graham is not interfering with him, Graham is essentially endangering everyone he knows and himself. So, you could say it's less assassinating, more self-defense at this point. But that is neither here nor there. We get introduced to some demons, we fight the demons, it ends in like they go their way, we go our way, and that is that. Nothing really comes out of that storyline. We just get introduced to some demon stuff and potentially some background story around the demons and the Demon King, because seemingly the Demon King told the Monster Cat to find the assassin and, be like on a good side with him. Meanwhile, the new demons are like, yeah, you need to get rid of the assassin. So, it seemed like there was a change of management along the way. But one of the big problems is the relationship between Akira and the Elven Princess. Now, from the very beginning, the Elven Princess seems to like him, but he does not reciprocate at all. We don't have any development in those, episodes. But the next big point is like where she gets kidnapped. He's like, oh, I need to rescue her. She's the most important thing to me in this world. I love her. And it comes out of nowhere. There's no development. There's no real romance going on. There was not, they slowly get to know each other. At least in the anime. It was very poorly done. And I don't know. Overall, the show has too many problems for me and too many isekai things happening. I know I'm rambling at this point. The art style was good, animation was solid, voice acting naturally, but the story at points was so bad, and I had my hopes up because the beginning seemed like a character that could be interesting to follow, that isn't maybe more like a no bullshit character that you can get behind. But we have the whole Elven storyline, which really destroyed everything. I mean, this made the show unbearable at that point. There was so much stupid stuff happening there. Then we get into this, this romance relationship which came out of nowhere. We have the whole demon thing that happens. And since then, he has problems using his shadow power because the shadow power doesn't really get explained at all as well, because it seems like it has its own will, but we don't get to know anything. He then more or less is, everyone is telling him, hey, get rid of this Graham cracker guy. And he's like, nah, I don't know. With some stupid bullshit where he gets told this guy kidnaps people, this guy is selling people, this guy is producing drugs, he's drugging people, he has a whole army of little drug soldiers that he's using to, do all kinds of bad stuff. He's trading with the demons, he's trading with these guys, he is evil. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna meet him and see for myself if he deserves to die. What do you mean? What can he do? And do you know what he does? Do you know what is the tipping point? At the beginning, we get introduced to a character that, Akira grows somewhat closer to and sees as a good friend. And that character gets killed because he's a problem for the king. Now Graham is saying, oh yes, this character, he died for nothing, and he's, oh, I saw it, and ooh. And that is the tipping point. That is the point where Akira's like, I need to kill him. Not the kidnapping, not the killing of people, not the drugging, not whatever else he's doing. He made fun of the death of a friend. He deserves death. It's like, what? And then we have some bullshit where already early on, he's like, you know, contemplating, and he's asking his then girlfriend for some reason, would you see me different if I killed someone? Would you, you know? And she's clearly like, I don't care. You are you, and I am me, and I'm going to love you whatever happens. And he still, you know, we have some stuff going on. It's, again, this had a lot of potential, but it did not live up to any of it, in my opinion. Okay, enough rambling. AniList gave it a 67%. My Anime List 6.7. Same rating, nice. I would give it a 6 out of 10. In the end, it's meh. There was potential. There was a lot of potential with the character. We could have had a nice development. There could have been some good stuff going on. He could have been like an assassin, helping his hero friends in the shadows, getting rid of the real bad people. A lot of things we could have done. In the end, it's a typical isekai storyline with some very bad arcs and a romance that came out of nowhere.